Rebuilding a rust-proof Land Rover, Part 6. Showing how the road springs allow the Land Rover to tilt when I climb into it. More sanding of the damaged paintwork. I drive into the garage very close to the camera and think about removing the bonnet on my own for sanding. Then it's into the house to show a few items that I have bought for this rebuild. Here I'm going to demonstrate what happens when I climb into the Land Rover. You will see that the side that I'm sat in goes down a bit. Now I freely admit I am just a tad overweight at 19 stone, but this happens with people who are not as heavy as me. And even though when I was 46 I was heavier than I am now, the tilt wasn't as bad as this. From what I can gather, the consensus of opinion from people on Google say that the springs are not handed and they're all the same. Maybe I should turn up a spacer to compress the spring slightly on the driver's side. I'm going to get some more advice on this before I do anything stupid. As you can see from this clip, the paintwork is not in very good condition, and this is a good bit. I think something's gone a bit wrong. Maybe Ken used the most powerful pressure washer in the world. Although the vinyl stickers that my friend printed for me are still there and they're not damaged at all. Well, this one is a bit because I put the heat gun on it and pulled part of it away. I think it will be easier to remove these with less damage to the paint if I use this orbital sander. This is 120 grit sandpaper and it's cutting through the lettering quite well. And interestingly, it doesn't clog up very much at all. When I fitted some finer grit sandpaper into the orbital sander, it clogged up very quickly. So 120 seems to be okay. For the very damaged paintwork, for instance on top of the wings, I'm going to use some very coarse grit and see what happens. Before I do that though, I need to fill some dents in various places on the wings and flatten that off first before using 120 grit and maybe even a finer grade. I really didn't expect this job to take so long. It took long enough using a heat gun which removed the paint as well. Luckily, in the edit that I'm doing at the moment, I can increase the speed so it doesn't bore you too much and put you into a coma. Eventually, all traces of the lettering have been removed, and I carry on sanding to smooth out the general area. Time to put the Land Rover away for the day because I have other things to do. The garage that's built onto my house is a bit small, and to make things worse, it has a central heating boiler at one end. And in order to film this clip, there's even less space because I put the camera in the garage to obtain the shots that you see here. I'm being very careful to position the Land Rover in the right place. This is a right-hand drive Land Rover and I need to make sure I don't get it too close to the left-hand wall, otherwise I will not be able to get out. To be honest though, it's not quite as close as it looks. It's now about 6 inches away from the camera. I'm taking this opportunity to have a look at the bonnet. It's glass fibre, so it's not going to rust. The design of these special bonnet hinges allow you to lift the bonnet off the hinges when it's vertical. When I first rebuilt this Land Rover when I was 46 years old, this was a very simple job. Now at 72, I have to think about jobs like this. And with my bad back at the moment, it's definitely a two-man job, I think. I'd like to show you the state of the wheels. As you can see, they're quite nice wheels, but they're very rusty. These, I think, are called modular wheels and look very similar to Wolf wheels. The problem is, I only have 4 of them. Or at least I did until I bought a couple more. The first one was a standard Land Rover wheel and I didn't like that. Then I saw one of these online and bought this. It's exactly the same type of wheel that's fitted to the Land Rover. When I take the Land Rover for an MOT into a local place called Rossmore Garage, I'm going to get them to fit new tyres to this rim and the other rim that I bought. Then I'll get the 2 old rims sandblasted and powder coated. There's a place at the bottom of the village that does this, and is very good. I will ask the garage to temporarily fit the new tyres onto 2 of the old wheels, because the tyres that are on at the moment are unserviceable. Into the house now to have a look at some of the parts that I've bought for this Land Rover rebuild. I realised I didn't have hardly any stainless steel self-tapping screws. These are not things that I would normally use, but for the Land Rover they're fairly essential. I was told when I first rebuilt this Land Rover in 1999 that I shouldn't use stainless steel screws where aluminium's concerned because of the cathodic corrosion problem. But it would appear that this is misinformation, because 26 years later the stainless steel self-tappers came out of the aluminium without event. I bought 2 dual filament bulbs for the side lights and brake light combinations. I had to do this because the originals that I bought with the lights were rubbish. I bought a full set of Brit-Part lights for this Land Rover, and believe me, they are not good at all. Am I complaining? No, not really. They were very cheap. Cheap enough to change every couple of years, but I'm going to modify them to make them last a bit longer. The other day when I backed the Land Rover out of the garage and I put the brakes on, I did notice that one brake light was much brighter than the other. And before anyone comments, yes, I am aware that these lamps are twin filament and the filaments are different. One's brighter than the other. But on the ones that came with the Brit-Part lights, there wasn't much difference with one of the bulbs. It was terrible. In this clip you can clearly see the dual filament bulb. This is a Lucas bulb, and it's made properly. The next thing I bought was some M3, M4, M5 and M6 bolts. I bought them with a variety of different heads. Some were Allen cap head, like these which I'm going to use to replace the horrible things that hold the Brit-Part light covers onto the main assembly. These are made from stainless steel so they won't rust, and if I need to change a bulb, I won't have to destroy the fitting by trying to get out the cheap plated posi-drive screws that came with the lights. I also bought one of these, a Haynes manual, just in case. Although so far I haven't had to look at this. My photographic memory serves me well. I also bought a new set of inertia reel seat belts. Although legally I don't have to have seat belts in this vehicle because none were fitted when it was new. But that's not the point. Common sense prevails. I need seat belts in this vehicle for safety reasons. These were a bargain. I bought them via eBay, a full set of injectors and also all the piping that goes with them and a set of glow plugs. They cost me £53, and even if just only one of the injectors works, it's still a bargain. Here's a set of preheater glow plugs that are essential on a diesel engine. Once I've cosmetically rebuilt this Land Rover, I'll probably do some work on the engine. What is it? It's a compression tester. This is one of the glow plugs that I bought. I'm just seeing whether or not the adapters that came with the set are the same thread, and thankfully they are identical. All I have to do is remove all of the original glow plugs from the engine and one at a time fit the compression tester adapter in each hole individually. Then just crank over the engine. With the help of this pressure gauge, it should tell me how healthy or not the cylinders are. Probably not a good buy if you're going to use it commercially in a garage, but this was about £27. I can't believe it really. My kitchen table is such a mess, so I'm going to show you the reason why. Right next to the kitchen, this is my workshop, and this is fairly full of stuff at the moment, which explains why the table is a mess. I have to have somewhere to keep the parts that I bought for the Land Rover. While I was in the workshop, I thought it would be a good idea to label up some boxes to hold all these self-tapping screws. And here they are, along with some M6 grub screws, neatly labelled and all easily accessible. That is it for this episode. Stay safe, stay healthy. Thanks for watching, and I hope you found it useful. Please take the time to visit my Mainsteam Models website and click on the section of the website that says Video Playlists. And by doing that, you can find other videos that you may like to watch. And by using the playlists, you can actually watch the videos back to back.